Well, I imagine, it's probably like they're, again, like you said, like if it kind of became their main like thing, it wasn't just like a side project for them anymore, it was like their main band. So, this is, I'm sure they make some money off of it. I know originally they kind of had a policy that they weren't going to make any money off of it because obviously there's some copyright implications because they're, you know, of what they're doing, the kind of things. But I know now it looks like the albums are available to purchase on their website. So I'm assuming maybe they somehow got around that. I guess this would be a good time to bring up the lawsuit. So they kind of got both positive and negative publicity. The Metallica guys love them. In fact, Kirk Hammett has said, I think it's cool when people do shit like that. It's not flattery, it's just fun for me. James Hetfield said it was pretty amazing. I'm glad there's people like that in the world. Even Mike Portney from Dream Theater, this is pure genius. So they have some fans in, the metal scene.
Yeah, well, I mean, they did play with like Creator and Motorhead and Testament,
Right.
years ago. So like, I'm sure word got around, and like,
Yeah.
and like, eventually Metallica, like, what was the deal with the lawsuit? Like, what, like, it
So
was like,
basically, Metallica knew of the band's existence. They all thought it was cool. They thought it was a funny little thing. The so a cease and desist was sent to the band's web host by Sony, who owns the rights to the Beatles catalog. Um,
oh, of course.
yeah.
Well, I think
So
Apple owns the rights now, but at the time it
well,
was Sony.
this was in 2005. So basically, Sony took them to court and was like, "Oh, you're doing this is copyright infringement because you're using imagery and kind of and like referencing the Beatles and the Beatles songs and all that, which what they're doing, let's be fair, is covered by fair use. So this is like literally Sony just throwing shit at a wall and seeing what sticks.
Yeah, it's
Um,
basically a slow day in the legal department.
right. Which, we've personally experienced that
Yeah, it's
with our
bullshit.
own band. It really is
It's
bullshit
bullshit. If
because
you have the money to fight it, then like go ahead. But it's just one of those things where it's not worth the trouble if you're like a
right.
newer band.
Well, and that's the problem is that these companies know that they're specifically targeting these bands that are small, but because they know they can get away with it, because they're probably just gonna be like, okay, well, we can't afford to pay hundreds of thousands of dollars in lawyer fees to fight this, so we'll just like acquiesce to their cease and desist,
Yeah, I
basically.
mean they don't really have a choice unless like it
Right.
turns out that like one of the
Unless,
band members' dad works in a hedge fund or something.
or it turns out in Beatallica's case that they have fans in Lars Ulrich because Lars Ulrich actually sent Metallica's personal attorney to help defend them,
That's
and
awesome.
I'm pretty sure Beatallica won the case because they basically like Lars Ulrich was like, oh, here's our lawyers, basically.
Here's our
um
lawyers. Now get my fucking knapsack.
yeah. So Sony reached an agreement with Metallica because probably they knew that friggin' Metallica would probably fucking crush them in a lawsuit because they have squillions of dollars to spend on legal teams.
Hmm.
Yeah, so Metallica was able to keep the rights to their music. Interesting enough, though, so this was in 2005, and in
Oh, of
2000,
course, when they started like hitting their peak, when they started like hitting
right?
their stride and like playing with all these like big bands and
Of
playing all these
course.
festivals, of course, like let's kick them while they're up.
Well,
Like,
it's the same thing that happened. We freaking released our album. We had a press
yeah,
release, all this other stuff, and then guess what? Let's hit them now.
yeah,
Cease and desist.
yeah. Let's do it. Like, well, let's do it at the worst possible time for them.
Yeah.
That's how they play the game. They're not stupid.
No, they're not.
They want they like these stupid legal departments, except for Larry and Steve, who are very nice and would help us if only we could afford them. Um, they they intentionally wait until like it's the until it's the last minute. It's almost like they plan this meaningless crap out, and then it's just like, okay, something big is happening for them. Let's do it now.
Yeah,
It's always the worst possible time for you when you
of
get one of
course it
these
is.
things. You know, and
Well,
it's by design, but what are you gonna do?
I guess it's kind of lucky that like I think the lawsuit actually really in because they were defended by Metallica's attorney. It kind of really helped their career because it kind of gave them a little bit of publicity. You know, all of a sudden, like, evil Sony is targeting this like little like hometown band with a lawsuit, and like everybody was like, "Fuck them." So I think that kind of helped, and also, they released basically all their full lengths after that. So, you know, it really didn't hurt their career. All their full length albums came out after the lawsuit happened.
Right, like this helped
Um,
them.